different celebrities and athletes solicited me like, hey, I want to invest in your company. I'll use Justin Timberlake. And he was our first investor. So I called Chainz and I was like, hey, we're doing this round. He's like, no, I'm in. And then Daniel Craig and then Jay-Z. And it was just like, just reaching out to these people who love the product.
All right, we are back for another episode of Under the Number. I'm joined by Jason Wersland, the founder of Therabody, one of the more ubiquitous products in the wellness space. Jason, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, cool. Nice to meet you.
So you're sitting at a pretty amazing spot right now with the way things have gone with Therabody and your multiple products that sit under that umbrella. People who are serious about their wellness, they've heard of it, they've used it. Their team maybe provided it to them to use it at the professional level, collegiate level, amateur. Lots of good. But the early days and when this thing initially got rolling, lots of bad. You had lost a business to embezzlement.
Yeah.
You were fresh off of a divorce. You got into a serious motorcycle accident. Tell me about that rock bottom, I would hope for your sake that was the lowest of lows point.
Yeah.
Take me back to those days.
Well, I was living in Utah and I had a flooring business, and all at the same time, just with the way the world works, I was going through divorce at the same time that the guy embezzled a bunch of money from me. And so I had a chance to kind of start my life over again. That's the way I looked at it. I'm like, look, if it's going to be this bad and I'm at rock bottom, like, where do I want my life to be in 10 years from now? And I'm going to start building towards that. And so I decided to go to chiropractic school. And I started school when I was 28. I'd done a lot of undergrad, but I hadn't done enough to get into school yet. So I went to an accelerated program, supposed to be 3.5 years. I found out on my first day that I needed 2 years of prerequisites. So what was 3.5 became 5.5. So I'm living in LA, just dealing with school, kids. And in 2006, I started a practice. In 2007 was when I had the motorcycle accident. So I was a chiropractor in LA after all that stuff. And now I got in this motorcycle accident and I couldn't practice because I couldn't feel my hand on my right side. And so I was just looking for something that I could use on myself to keep the pain down between my treatments with my chiropractor. My business partner in my practice was a chiropractor. And there were just a lot of solutions going through my head. Like, is this what people have to do? They have to wait for someone else to treat them. And I have 3 or 4 days where I'm in pain, and then I go and this guy gets me out of pain for a few minutes. And then, so that just wasn't computing in my head. And I just thought, you know what? I grew up, my family's not, I'm first generation American. My dad's Norwegian. We didn't have a ton of money. So you become really resourceful. My mom's side of the family had a farm. So a lot of that stuff sort of bled through me. And I made the first Theragun to take away pain. And I was just using it on myself. Never thought in a million years that it would be what it is today. So that's kind of how it started.
Well, it's really amazing because you effectively invented a new category in percussive therapy devices.
Yeah.
How do you make prototype number 1 for something like that? How did you even think to make it?
I think the best answer to that is necessity is the mother of invention. I can tell you right now, after all these years, if I wasn't in that situation, if I wasn't in pain every day, that's what drove me. Like that, people say, how did you keep going? I was going to solve this problem, or the pain was going to go away, and it didn't go away. So I had to solve the problem. So the first years was me just finding something that worked on my nervous system. It wasn't the tool or the name of the product or whether it was powered by a plug-in or battery. None of that mattered. What mattered is what it was doing to my nervous system. And being a chiropractor and being in pain and having something that I could tinker with, I found the frequency and the amplitude. I found the science of how to change and alter my nervous system. That was the trick. So people see this like massage gun and like, I can make one of those. I'm like, yeah, you probably could make one of these. But do you know how to use it? And you know when to use it and where to use it. So those are the things that really, added value to me in the early scrappy years.
How did you combat the default skepticism that a lot of people have towards chiropractors?
Honestly, the first part of it was just, I would just tell them, let me try this on you. Just let me get it on you. If I could get it on them, it literally would wake up their nervous system and they would now listen to me. Like, oh my God, what is this doing to me? Why does it feel so good? So if I was talking like here at the booth, I'm going to lose you after 30 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
But if I put this on you and you're like, oh my God, I needed that. Now I have your attention.
Yeah.
So it just became more about the message when they're open to the message than it was about, cramming it down their throat. And then for me, it was getting it into the hands of the people that knew what it did and knew how to use it. And there's a lot of them. They're pro athletes generally. So I just would get it into their hands and then it just grew from there.
Well, we were talking off camera earlier about how you ended up getting it in the hands of the guys at P3 in Santa Barbara of all places, and had Marcus on the podcast and known him forever. Talk about those strategic channels, like just to kind of double click on that, getting it into the hands of people who are going to be honestly the greatest ambassadors for a product that you could find.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you asked that question. A lot of people miss that. When I was creating, when I had what I felt like after about 8 years, when I had what I thought was like a product that I could give to you and walk away and you wouldn't get injured, you wouldn't hurt yourself, and you would also get the benefits from it, that's when I knew I had something. So once I had that, I was actually working at a place called Unbreakable Performance in Hollywood. Jay Glazer and some other people owned it. And I had a little space in the basement of this place where I would stretch guys and work them out and things. I was kind of experimenting with the Theragun, but I didn't know what it was yet. I didn't understand it. And I remember I came in late one day and my Theraguns were out of my room. They were up on the gym floor. And it's the first time that I'd ever seen a Theragun on a gym floor. And I was mad. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You can't just take my Theraguns out of my space. And I could tell you some names who were there, like legit people. And I'm like, why are you taking, you don't know what you're doing. And then the next time that happened, I was like, wait a second, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
And that's when I started realizing, I remember I was standing right by a friend of mine named Gabe Rangel. And I looked at Gabe and I was like, bro, I want to do the same thing Gatorade and Under Armour did. They got it into the hands of the athletes that knew how to use it, knew how to talk about it, and they became influencers. And this is in 2011, 2012. Like, there weren't influencers then. So when you asked that question, it was me just sort of observing what was happening around me and being like, Gatorade and Under Armour did this, I'm going to do the same thing. So that's the path I took, because like, I want to get into the athletes. Sports moves the world. And if I could have them start building and seeing it on TV or on a sideline or with an athlete, it just now suddenly, what is that? And then just really fast, in 2016, in the NBA Finals, where Cleveland was playing the Warriors, Kyrie Irving used it on the sideline. And the ABC was right in on him. And they showed my Theragun. And it was like the moment.
Isn't there a moment similar with Whoop? I've heard where like one day he's watching ESPN and LeBron walked out and he's got a Whoop on.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard stories like that where the founder's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I just got blessed today.
It was amazing. I was driving to San Diego and my son called me and I was in the passenger seat and one of my best friends was driving. And my phone kept going off, but I was in the middle of working and I just was like, whatever. I looked at my son, stopped. I looked at my son the second time. Third time I answer it and he's like, Dad, are you watching TV? I was like, why? And he told me, I'm like, what? Yeah, that was. And then Kevin Hart posted one day on Instagram. That was unsolicited. There's just so many things like that just happened. You asked a question, but I wanted to make sure I was clear on this. I wanted people that had a voice to use my product.
Yeah.
And that's really what I tried to do, get the products in their hands.
Well, I mean, obviously you got to give credit to, it's an amazing product. That's how that happens, right? Like they're doing that organically without you even asking.
Because it worked, yeah.
And then you can imagine the next steps of, hey, I'm this influential person. I freaking love this thing. How do I get on your cap table?
Yeah.
Talk about some of the athlete investors that you guys have, and not only athletes, but celebrities beyond sports as well.
Yeah. Well, when we did our first in 2018, my business partner and I were talking, and we had so many amazing relationships with different celebrities and athletes that had solicited me like, hey, I want to invest in your company. I'll use Justin Timberlake for one, because it's a hilarious story. He said, I want to invest. And I was like, we're not even set up to do that. Like, I
don't know how to take your money.
Yeah,
right now.
Literally, I was like, I don't even know what to do with it. And he stayed in touch with us. His financial guy kept reaching out, and he was our first investor. And his excitement and pride to be a part of that was like, wait a minute. So I called Chainz and I was like, hey, I don't want you to be mad at me, but we're doing this round. And if in 6 months from now, I didn't tell you and you got mad at me, like, he's like, no, I'm in. And then Daniel Craig, and then Jay-Z. And it was just like, just reaching out to these people who love the product. Their physical therapists were using it on them, or they had one and they already knew it. And they're like, it's an authentic story. So that first round we did was with some people that I can't even believe we did it with.
Yeah.
And that has been part of our brand from the very beginning.
Well, and how many years in at that point is this round happening?
For me, almost 10.
Yeah.
But for the company, 3, 2.5.
Yeah. I mean, 10 years for you. So yet another example of an overnight success.
Yeah,
so
right.
Very common.
Right.
I'm curious. This is more of a zoom out, get an expert's opinion on a trend in the world that you live in. You guys had explosive growth around COVID in 2020 and in the years since, which you guys do fit squarely into the wellness boom that everyone is experiencing.
Yeah.
Talk about those tailwinds. Why did everyone wake up to this so much while being at home due to a pandemic, and just make sense of it for me?
Yeah. You can't make that stuff up,
No.
Like, I'll be honest with you. I remember in the early days feeling like something was going to happen. I didn't know what that was. A pandemic would have never been on my list of things, but I felt like something was happening. Like, people were searching for something, and massage therapy was taking off, and Soothe and all these apps where people could come to your house. And so it became much more commoditized. Like, it was accessible.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so suddenly now, within days, you can't go to your gym.
Right.
You can't have your massage therapist come to your house. You have to go to the ER. Like, it was such a flip. And I know our messaging and luck is being prepared when the time is right. And we were super lucky because we had already built this brand. We'd already built this messaging of taking care of yourself, how important that was.
Yeah.
And the world was saying, if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to die. But not us. We weren't saying that, but we were a natural solution. And like you said, it was insane what was happening from COVID. And my wife actually came up with this concept of donating Theraguns to hospitals, because we had just switched. You'll like this as business. We were just moving from one generation of Theraguns to the next generation of Theraguns. So we were just about to launch our Gen 4, and COVID hit. And so now we're sitting on Gen 3, and we have Gen 4 coming. And my wife was like, the team was like, we got to do something. And my wife said, why don't we donate some of these older versions to the hospitals? And we did. And over 100 hospitals. So now we suddenly had hospital workers making videos about how to use Theragun on their feet.
Amazing.
And their mates and stuff like that. So that was just one of those things that it was a perfect storm. We couldn't have planned it. And it did wake everyone up to, can I get this thing for my body?
Yeah.
And we were one of those things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think during COVID, one Christmas, I got a little mini Theragun in my stocking from my parents.
Yes. Perfect stocking stuffer.
Perfect. I mean,
perfect.
And I have 3 siblings. Everyone got one. But on that note, the platformization of Therabody. It was Theragun. Now you have all of these products. Now you have even like this ecosystem and Coach by Therabody and Reset by Therabody. Take me through that platformization, for lack of a more cool phrase.
I think, one of the most enjoyable parts about Therabody is how authentically it grew. And that was just another one of those things. I was in Europe traveling, and I had been around, we had just opened up a bunch of distributors globally. So I'd been to like 47 cities and 17 countries. I've been all over the place, in and out of these training rooms, in and out of these conversations. And I called my business partner and I was like, hey, this is bigger than what we think it is. And he's like, I know. So we were both kind of like, well, what do we do? And his dream was to acquire businesses. And my dream is to grow into these physical therapy and clinic spaces. And I realized that it's super fragmented. So in that process, we realized, okay, we can't lose the equity in Theragun.
Right.
So how can we maintain the equity from Theragun, which was now a global brand, and transition or evolve into Therabody? And we just made a campaign with Theraguns it was Theragun for every body. And we were like, Therabody, and it just worked out. So honestly, dude, I'm telling you, they say build it and they will come. It was heaven blessed, and it kind of happened. And then bam, 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 we had wave roller, jet boots. We had it was just like suddenly it happened. And within 18 months, we were like, 12, 14 products, and we were off to the races. I would wish I could tell you that it was because we were strategized with this big company. No, we were trying to make it, and we were just looking for opportunities.
It's amazing. Looking ahead, not that anyone can, perfectly look around corners. What are some of the signals that the market is telling you? What are the spaces between, there's a convergence of wellness and longevity, which can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But what are the things that people are begging for right now? What are the areas that maybe the Therabody team is thinking, we're going to lean more, whether that's a new product offering or whether it's something as simple as people love these pop-ups and IRL activations where we want to they want to be in Therabody world where we curate something and they're in it. Like, what are some of the things that you guys are starting to hear?
Great question. There's a couple of things that stand out to me when you say that. One is Coach, and then one is these activations. Coach is this bespoke part of us because your ailment may not be exactly the same as someone else's. So if you're a runner and a pickleball player and a golf guy, you might have different issues than someone else. And so what we did with Coach is it's actually me taking in that information and then spitting back to you protocols that are specific to you. So that's one of the ways we've been able to stand back, and we feel like the market's looking for things for them. Like, I want to pick up my app and have this tell me what I need instead of me having to go search for, well, what does Tom Brady use? And what does this guy use? And what does that person use? It's like, no, what do I need? So that's what we're, as a team, really focusing on with Coach.
Yep.
And the AI bots you can use now and how much information you can gather. That's really important. But then also there's the real side of things. Like, our products make you feel a certain way, and we will never get away from that. So these moments where someone can be like here and pick it up and try it, that's still such a fundamental part of our brand because it's a physical product touching you, making you feel a certain way.
A question on how you looked at when it was time to take the leap. You had a lot of years of tinkering on this. It sounds like you were still working at the gym that you mentioned with Jay Glazer.
Yeah.
Right. But at a certain point, you got to decide to go all in with your time.
Yeah.
Can you take me back to the mental calculus of that? Because that's hard. It's very challenging for anyone starting a business.
I'll be honest, I ran from it for a while.
Yeah.
I was
meaning pushed it off?
I was scared. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
I didn't know. There's no guarantees. And that's, I think this questions are great what you're asking, because people don't talk about that. In 2013, I had 7 1099 contracts that I did taxes for.
Wow.
So I was working for 7 different sources of income to generate enough money for me to go do this on the side. In 2014, I had a moment where I was like, I got to go all in. All this energy that I'm spending on all these different contractors, I've got to take that and focus on this. And if I don't do it, then, and there was about a 3-month period where I was really afraid. I was scared. Like every day I woke up, like I barely slept. I got to get some stuff done.
Yeah.
But that's what it took. And then I really believe that if you're doing things right, the universe has a way of blessing you. You meet a person, you meet a thing, something happens, Kevin Hart posts, like, things like that, I really believe that when I did that, when I leaned into that, it just started opening up so many doors. But it's hard to know when to do that. I probably couldn't tell you when to do that in your life.
Yeah.
It's a thing, you know? And I was sharing with someone over there that I started to create what I felt like was a really cool relationship with the universe. And I started understanding like its rhythms and when to push and when to stop and when not to be there. And so for me, I realized when the universe was taking an inhale to get ready to do something, that was my time to focus on me, my health, my diet, my sleep, my relationships, my kids, my family, because it's not like that all the time. So if I had a down 3 or 4 weeks and I just felt like nothing was happening, I realized, okay, what's important? I got to focus on the things that are going to get me ready for the next run. And so I think just understanding those rhythms is also super important.
Well, I wish we could go longer. We've run out of time here, but you clearly made the right bet on yourself, and it's a super inspiring story. And congratulations on the empire and category that you've invented. It's pretty incredible.
Thank you.
Thanks
Appreciate your time. Yeah, appreciate it.